Okay, and welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Steve here, my lovely wife Kim,
Hi, everybody.
and we are going to do a live review of Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Yes.
As we finished playing this on Twitch, and we thought we'd recap it and kind of talk about what we think of the game itself and what do we think about the experience playing it streaming as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. If we're recording this live on YouTube, so feel free to join us there. If you're listening to this after the fact on the podcast,
Oh, I didn't realize we were doing. Okay.
surprise!
Yeah. It's fine. It's whatever. I'm along for the ride.
You're along for the ride, yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're gonna go over our most five. We're gonna go over the 5 things we want to.
Words.
Words are hard today. This is
We're
why we
going
do
over the
recording.
5 things. It's like the 5 and 5 your review
Well,
style.
not in 5 minutes, but yes, we're going to go over the 5 things you need to know about the game. Starting with our least most important, we're going to way to our most important. That's really awkward to say.
Oh, it's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be a long night.
Okay.
So, but yes, that is. Let's just kick it off, I guess, on what we're gonna do. So, I guess real quick, if you're not familiar with Pandemic Legacy, there are 3 of them out there. It will start with Season 1. The one we're going to talk about today is Season 2, and then there is a third one, not called Season 3, called Season 0.
Yes, but that's like a prequel.
It is a prequel.
Yeah.
That's why I call it
So,
Season 0. Yep.
yeah.
It happens before Season 1. And you don't have to play them in order 1, 2, and 0, though
1 and 2. Definitely play 1 and then 2.
probably.
No,
There's
never. Definitely. It makes sense that way.
It does make sense. Yeah, there's some thematic elements that tie into it for sure. So I agree with you. Probably good plan.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if you play Pandemic, this is taking that same concept and making it legacy style, where you are ripping up cards and putting stickers on the board and writing on the board and all sorts of fun
The
stuff.
game evolves and changes as you play, which is what's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it plays anywhere from 12 games to 24 games in a box. So it depends how well you do.
We played 13.
I think we might have played 13 in Season 1. Season 2, I should check. I don't remember what we did, but it wasn't nearly as good. So
Really?
we,
Maybe 14. I don't remember how many
we
times
lost
we
at least 3 times in Season 2.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
3 or 4 times.
my memory. I don't remember those loses.
Come on your mind. Okay, but let's jump into it. There's an open discussion, so Kim and I are going to talk about this, and she may agree or disagree with the points I have assembled. Disagree,
No,
thank you.
it's fine.
But because this is live, if you guys have comments, send us our comments and we'll put them on the screen and we'll talk about it. It'll be a fun discussion. So
Yeah.
this is going to be getting to spoiler territory. It's really hard to review this game without spoiling it. I can say the top 5 points without spoiling them, but yeah, it's going to get in that territory. So if
Okay.
you haven't played this game,
And you want to play the
and
game.
you want to play the game, I would recommend honestly turn this off and we'll come back
No.
next week.
We'll try to be conscientious about it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I guess if we get to something super spoilery, we'll mention it. You guys can skip ahead a few minutes.
Yeah.
How's that?
But I mean, if you played Pandemic Season 1, it's very similar in the fact that you have, steps that you take in each month that you play, and then you open a package. It's like a little holiday gift. For me, it's what's in the box, and then you do what it says, and
yeah, pretty much,
Mhm.
pretty straightforward. Okay, let's start with number 5, and that's going to be a con actually, and this is a slight con. And Kim already disagrees with me.
Yeah. Okay, no, make your point.
And it's the story a little bit, and it's not that the story was bad necessarily. It's just that I didn't feel as invested in it. Like I think this is the main difference between Season 1 and Season 2. Season 1 had a story that I felt like it had a whole like narrative arc and it's going someplace. And this one I felt like things are happening and we're in the environment, the world, but I wasn't quite following what was going on. And I think the problem was, this is not much of a spoiler at all, but when you open up some of these packets and they tell you what's going on, it tells you from a historical standpoint, meaning that, hey, 30 years ago, this happened. I'm like, cool, but that's not now. That was back then. So I think that's what gave me that disconnect. It wasn't like, hey, by the way, right now over in Africa, something's happening. Oh, cool, let's go do that. And so for me, it's a slight negative. It made my list for this, but yeah, the story.
Okay. I can kind of see where you're getting at in the fact if you're comparing the story from Legacy season 1 to 2, season 1 is it's stronger
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you're more in it, like what you're saying. But this one I wouldn't call it a con. I mean, it's still story, it's still there. You're still trying to
Right.
save the world or dig the world out of the crisis that you're in. Um, I would just say it's probably not as strong of a story hook to the first season,
Yeah.
but I still think it's a decent story. And
Yeah, yeah. The story wasn't bad, like I said before. It's not like I'm disappointed in it, even though I'm marking it as a con. It's just that like it wasn't. I wasn't able. I like to get immersed in games, and this wasn't there for me. I got immersed in the mechanics of the game, but not the story itself.
yeah, so season, if people are familiar with the regular game Pandemic, there's diseases going throughout the world. And you're trying to find the cures and save humanity. That's the same as season 1. I mean, that's is that a fair statement? Like pretty much it's the same
Yeah, I'd say
thing.
so. Yeah.
Season 2, I think we just gotta talk about it. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
this is a little bit
yeah.
spoiler.
So season
So
2,
so jump ahead.
regardless, yeah, timestamp. We'll move forward. Regardless of how you did on the season 1 play, if you won or lost, season 2 comes in, and the world is in shambles. Like it is as if you had lost season 1 horribly, um, and then you're trying to just rebuild civilization on the entire globe. But the really cool part that the story does do is you don't know a lot of information because you're 70 years later, in the dark. Society has collapsed and you're really isolated.
Right.
And that might be what turned you off from it, I think, because there wasn't a lot of information to go on and you just had to feel your way through. And the story wasn't giving you all the answers right away because everybody was dead. So nobody knew anything. But then the cool thing is it's still like you re-explore the globe,
That's right.
which I like a lot.
Yeah, the premise they set for the story, it made sense on how it unfolded. It just didn't make it for an engaging experience for myself. Because you're exactly right. This was like, hey, by the way, we've survived this long for basically isolating ourselves for, I don't know, I think it was like 75 years or something.
It's very familiar.
Yeah, maybe a little too real lately. So, but and so like coming out of that situation and then seeing what's going on in the world. So it made sense. It just I needed something like, well, this is all about the past. I'm all discovering the past. I'm always discovering the past. What about the present, right? Because I need to know what's going on in the present so I can plan for the future.
Yeah, but you're trying not to die in the present.
Right, but that's like that is something that's happening now. It's not like the end goal, right? It's
Oh, so you didn't know where you were reaching. Like, so the first in
like
regular
Walking Dead,
Pandemic,
right?
oh my gosh, that show is driving me crazy. All the humans just need to die. I don't like the decisions they're making. It
Because
just
they're like,
needs
yeah, they're zombies and they're just
it
like go about the
needs to
business.
end.
But like, what are they doing in that show? You know.
Oh
So
God, it
if you guys
just
watch the show, you might know what I'm talking about.
it's
But
driving me crazy. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, no. So yeah, season 1 and regular Pandemic, you know what your end goal is.
right,
Yeah, opening the box of season 2, you don't know.
right, right.
Other than you're assuming I want to survive and fix the world.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, I see where you're coming from. I don't
So
see it as a con.
not a con for you.
No.
Kind of agree on a few points, but overall disagree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is a pro actually in this one, and I thought the cooperation was better in this game than normal pandemic type games. I would say, and I say that because there were more elements that let you interact with each other. And this is going to be a pretty big spoiler. So if you haven't stopped listening now, I'd recommend to jump ahead. But here we go. One of the elements they introduced in the game was these radio towers. And these radio towers are pretty cool in that if you had a radio tower, you could beam information to someone else. And that mechanically was I can give you the cards, and so this way I could give you the cards you needed to do what had to
Beam
be done.
information, or just you can communicate to each
Ah,
other via
beam,
radio.
like teleportation. Just kidding. Yeah, right. Radio. Yes.
Yeah. I would agree with this point. There is a lot of cooperation in season two because they give you the additional tools to do that. Regular pandemic, yes, it's cooperative, but you could play that very separately.
Yeah, and in regular pandemic, it feels that you have to align to a goal collectively, right? So meaning that like,
But there is a collective goal.
well, there's collectible, but like, here's the plan. You need to go here. You need to go there. You need to go there. Do your jobs, and then we'll win by this plan, right? As opposed to the goal is obviously win the game, right? But I don't necessarily need you to follow X Y Z steps to achieve that goal.
Yeah, and the other thing with the legacy deck is you don't always, well, you don't know for sure what is coming
Right.
down the pipeline. So
Right.
you get to make choices and choose which risks you're going to take and hedge your bets in certain areas or whatever you're doing. Um, which I think is it's a lot of fun for me just to take those risks and then die. Nadia!
Well, that's oh yeah, too soon, too soon.
Sorry.
Well, that's the fun thing about the legacy aspect because not only are you playing in the game now, but you're also thinking about the games in the future. It may be advantageous for you to make a bad play in the game now so that you're set up better for the next games, right?
Yeah, and we actually did that in
Mhm.
one of the games. It was just a really terrible start. We knew the writing was on the wall like turn one and a half,
Yeah.
and we were gonna lose. So we could have tried really hard to dig ourselves out, or like you're saying, just take the loss, but take that game to set up success for the next one. So we chose the latter, and I think that was the right decision.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah,
But yeah, there were just like a lot of elements. I mentioned the radio towers as one of them. Another one, it was creating these shelters and trying to help each other to build these shelters because we were able to do it remotely a little bit, and you were able to take care of the baddies for me at some point to help save me from
yeah, the
this
Hollow
stuff.
Men, those
Yeah,
creepy bad guys that just they're evil. Like I don't
evil.
under just I don't know. They're just bad people.
So long story short, there were a lot more opportunities to help each other out in this game, and so that's why I put cooperation on here. I thought it was improved from Pandemic.
And it's a great co-op game.
Do you agree with this point?
I would agree. Yes.
Okay.
I do. Pandemic is still a good cooperative game, but
It is. It is.
this legacy one I think is just an extra notch up.
That's exactly right. That's why I wanted to call it out. So that is point number 4. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is a negative for me, a con, and Kim's already shaking her head.
No, because we talked about this one before.
We did.
Yeah.
I got called out. I think the luck factor in this game, it exists in regular Pandemic as well, and it just kind of just bothers me in this
I
one.
think that particular instance left such a bad taste in your mouth that it is burned in your brain. You're like, oh, that's luck. It's this whole game just around this single point of time that happened, and I don't think that's a fair assessment.
So she's getting to the point that no spoiler. Both our characters did die in the game. Our starting characters.
Our starting characters died.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we had them all leveled up and everything. And what happened is the baddies basically appeared randomly in my spot, and I moved to another spot. They appeared in my spot again, and then I basically died.
It was hilarious.
They
I'm
just
not
kept
gonna
falling
lie. It
around.
was so funny because the probability of that actually happening is really low when you look at the number of cities on the board that they could populate. Granted, the Hollow Men will appear on that top portion of the deck, so you, for the most part, will know
That they're coming.
that they're coming.
Yep.
Watch out in these areas. But the chances of you getting hit twice back to back immediately were so low that that was just very unlucky. But I don't think.
See, and this is where we're going to disagree because you say that, but the exact same experience happened to you too.
Yes, but I just think that was because lightning hit twice, and I just it's still.
This is what I'm getting at.
But
right?
I knew that it was in what Europe or wherever. I knew that was a risky area. Those cities kept getting hit, and I wasn't leaving. I was taking the chance to stay there, and I paid the price for it. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue I have with the regular Pandemic and this one. Like, I like the concept of taking those cards and shuffle them, put them back on top of the deck, but depending on when you hit that first epidemic, it could really affect your game. And we had that happen to us, where like it came out early and like,
Yes.
oh crap,
And
what's
then
going on.
it really ramps up the difficulty for sure if
Yep.
those cards come out quickly. But that I think is every game that you have to shuffle cards, there is that element of being screwed. Like you that can happen. And then even like we played Marvel Legendary
Hmm.
Monday and
Hmm.
I swear I shuffled those cards. But, they come out and there's like six characters of the same person. So it's still I don't think it's specific to this game.
No, maybe not. But I wanted to call out that we did die a couple times, and that could be
Yes,
a
we
bad
died.
experience. And I think it's more. I think the main thing is it's not just the luck; it's the fact that at that time in the game there was nothing we could do about it. Right? If there was some mitigation or some solution to get out of a bad luck situation, okay, fine, I can do that. Like your example of Legendary, a bunch of these cards came out. Well, honestly, if I buy one of them, I'm gonna replace it with something else anyway. I'm gonna start seeing that variety come out and get out of that unfortunate situation. And here, at least in the point of the game we're at, there was nothing we could do about it, and that plus the bad luck is what soured me a little bit on this
Yeah.
game.
Well, that's common for you. We
It
talked
is.
about in V Commandos where
Yep.
you want control. Like you want to have some sort of ability to
Correct.
manipulate the game in any situation where I'm just kind of okay, let's go. It's fine.
So yeah,
So,
that's number three. Con luck and Kim, not so much.
not so much.
No, you don't
No.
think it's a factor at all for you?
No, because again, it's
Okay.
just the luck of the card draw, and I accept it for what it is.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to number two. Number two is the difficulty. I'm marking this as a pro. I thought the game was challenging enough for us. Like the beginning of the game, we were able to achieve or get extra credit, I call it, because you have to complete a number of objectives. In the beginning of the game, we were doing pretty well. It kind of starts off easy, and we're able to do so well, we're able to complete all the objectives we needed to, and then maybe even set up for the next games. But at some point, that started turning. Like it started off pretty easy, and it started turning to okay, then we have to focus and pay attention. Then honestly, probably about midway, I would say, is where we're like, okay, we just have to start getting through this. This is crazy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that challenge was definitely there, and I really, really appreciate that in this game.
I would agree with that. The difficulty kind of scaled with the game, and when you did, if you lose or if you're not progressing far enough, which I don't think it happened to us too often, maybe once, where we got what I call the pity card. So you lose if you lose too many times or you're not progressing in the game fast enough, the game will help
Yeah.
you and it will help you progress into the story, but it will penalize you at the same time, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
here's a pro to help you get you to the next month or help you succeed the next month, but something bad, there's a consequence to it.
Correct.
So I think that's a nice touch, but I think, like I said, that we only had one of those pity events help us one time. But like you're saying, I would agree. It starts pretty easy. Granted, we were doing really well, and also Skeeter was a huge help in the game. If you guys don't
Yes.
know, Skeeter MVP of the game. He was helping us with rules because I don't read rule books. I do read, but I don't read rules. And then just corrections and some strategy stuff. So uh,
Huge, huge help.
proud to him again. So yeah, I'd say it's a good balanced game, which is interesting because I know that you talked to Peter, and
Correct.
Peter says this game's way too easy.
His comments were that it took almost longer to set up the game than it took to finish the game. Meaning that like he would set up the game, he would play it, and it'd be so fast, so easy to get through. Be like, well, I spent all this time setting it up. I don't feel like I got enough out of it. And in our experiences, we did not run into that probably at all. We might have had like one quick loss at some point
Yeah,
because it was so difficult, just bad luck.
quick last, and then I'm
Yeah.
not satisfied. But now, in fairness to you, which I know we've talked about this in the past, excuse me, um, I don't really set up or tear down games. I let you do that.
Sure.
I'll help shuffle and I'll put the cubes on the board,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the bulk of it I leave to him.
Sure.
So that's like no time at all for me. So,
But I mean, comparing the setup to playtime, that was an issue here. But I want to focus more on the difficulty still because even for us, like talking to Peter, he says it was just a walk in the park for him, and we definitely did not run into that at all. And I think
some months were easy.
some months were easier than others, but overall, I thought the difficulty was correct. It was about right for us. Like I
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was a walk in the park, especially towards the end. That towards the end, we were like pulling your hair out. How are we gonna do this? And that's
I don't think it was pulling your hair out hard for
okay.
us. I
Okay,
think it would have been if we were getting like loss after loss after loss, because then those
sure, that's
consequences
true.
do pile up on you. Um, so it's not. I wouldn't call this the most difficult game.
No, I agree. I'm not. I should clarify that. I'm not saying it's the most difficult. I'm saying it was the difficulty set correctly. Like
Yeah,
it
so
was
it's
about right.
it's a good difficulty level for the type of game and for what it
Yes,
is, for the
exactly.
experience.
For the
Okay,
experience.
yeah,
Yep.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, that is our number two. Moving on to number one. Number one is actually going to be a pro, and you know me, this should not come as a surprise, and that is the exploration in the game. I love games where I feel like I can explore what the game has to offer. And this season two did something very different than season one. If you don't want spoilers, and
It's too late.
you still listen to
It's too
us,
late.
you're probably already spoiled, but here goes another one. The board in season two, there's basically nothing on there. There's just
It's fog of war.
it's fog of
Like
war,
yeah,
exactly.
you don't know.
Exactly.
Again, because it's been 70 years and you're just in your little shelter. Like,
Hmm. And so I loved about this game and the fact that you go to certain locations and you can do some reconnaissance. And by doing so, you will put stickers on the board and uncover more of the world. And not only that, as you uncover the world, there are areas you need to search, and you try to find different elements in the game, which was really, really fun. Why are you laughing?
well, because when I read, there was a search up, we searched one thing and I read it strangely
Oh,
as,
yes.
hey, we found all the scientists. Awkward long pause. Dead. It's just
It's like, oh, we did.
I know, he got
Oh,
so
no.
excited, and I was like, nope, they're all dead. I'm sorry.
So, but like stuff like that, I really enjoyed that, and that's to me what made this experience so much fun. Just trying to say, oh, what's over here, and looking at the cards, like, okay, I need to find this this element of the game. I think it might be down here in this region based on the clues they're giving us.
Well, yeah, and you dig way deeper into things than I do. And although, in fairness, again, Skinner was like, read the cards.
Yes, he was.
They're telling you the answers. And so Steve was like, oh, okay, let me actually take a minute to think about this. And then you really got into that. And I'm just,
Mhm.
again, la di da. So, but yeah, I do really like the exploration of the game and the ability to go search. And there were points of search that at some point they didn't really gain you anything, but you're still the type that would say, I want to go figure out what's over there
Yeah.
because why not? So
There's this area on the board. Technically it doesn't have any meaning with the clues they're giving us, but I want to see what's there.
yeah,
So
yeah, so it's fun. And again, that goes back to like the presence type
right.
of mystery of the game.
I'm gonna also tie in the exploration as what's inside the box too, because we completed the whole campaign and there were still elements we did not see open up, which is really cool to see that there is some almost branching going on in the game. I won't say like it's a big branching narrative, but there's like twigs, I guess, into branches.
Well, now I'm curious. I think I just want to open them.
Yeah, I'll have to show you what's
Okay.
in there. So, but yeah, there's some interesting things. So that whole package, that exploration, really really love that aspect of it.
Yeah, so like, and I would say that's my biggest pro for it is just the fact that it is a legacy game, and I really enjoy those. From like Aeon's End, I love that legacy game. I really like season one. This one's been great. So
And I guess this might also come as a bit of a con to some people as well, because getting back to Peter's comments when talking to him about this game, is he had a very different experience. And because this game has so much exploration in it, you can go to areas you not may not be the best thing to do at this point in time, and the experience of the game will change because of that. Because like for us, I think that happened to us where we went to a location. It's like, oh wow, we just don't like this really bad thing that's going give us a hard time for the rest of the campaign, and there's nothing we can do about it. And we could have delayed that from happening if we decided not to do that action at that point of the campaign. And so it's going to cause this game to have different game groups to have different experiences, which I think is really really cool. I personally think that's a pro, but I know some people prefer more of a tailored, structured experience for everyone, so everyone has the same experience. Yeah,
yeah, well, that's not me.
you like the varied experience as well.
Yeah, I mean because selfishly, it's my own personal experience with this game, of course, is going to differ than someone else's, and even with not legacy stuff, it's just personal taste and preference of
Sure,
any game that you play. So
sure.
it's to each their own.
So we've gone through our top five. let's talk about final thoughts. You want to start with your thoughts about the game?
I love this game. None of these on the list are cons for me, honestly. So he's
Okay.
like, "Well, what cons do you have?" When we were trying to brainstorm, and I honestly don't have a particular thing. I mean, at one point, it kind of felt like a chore or a job because yes, you're playing repetitively and you're going through the months to play the entire campaign. And maybe I was busy doing something else, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go play this game now." But that's just a personal thing. It's like you gotta make the time to do it and
Sure.
schedule it. And I'm committed to you on Mondays,
Me
so
too.
um, so another con. I don't. I mean, I'm sad anytime a character that I have built up dies. And actually, both of my characters
They did.
they
Both of
both
them
died, but um, the second year it was for a good cause, noble cause.
did.
Kara, Dr. Kara Knight. She was very, very noble. Um, yeah, so I'd say Final Thoughts overall, really fun game for me to play. It's fun to play together with you. It's cooperative, which is my preference of game style. And the legacy part is just a added bonus because I like I like mystery and gifts.
Yeah, I point out some negatives on this list because I think the game does have some things it could improve on for sure, just like every game out there. But honestly, I really enjoyed this play as well. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm trying to compare it to season two to season one, and which one do I like better? I actually might like this one a tad bit better, and just because of the exploration aspect. That is something that I seek out in games, and it gave it that to me here. Now, the story is better in season one, and I think that is probably going to be a stronger factor for everyone, a lot of people out there, and maybe that's going to be a better experience overall. But honestly, I had a lot of fun with this. This was a really, really fun experience, and we played season one, we played season two. I'm looking forward to season zero. I'm enjoying this series of games.
Yeah, I'll play that with you. I don't know who else we're gonna play with.
So that's kind of a review of this. We both like it. We both recommend it. But we had also a different experience than I think most people with this game because we decided to stream this live for people to join us, and I thought that'd be kind of fun to talk about. Like we've played season one at our table, just us, right?
Mhm.
And I guess now that you played through season two, the whole thing streamed, what did you think about the experience? How is that
I
different for you?
Well, the game itself was different, but there are so many parallels to them. I'm not really going to focus on the difference of the game. The fact that it was streamed, that I thought was really cool because we did have some people jump in and interact with us and then give us different ideas, or we asked them, um, "Hey, what direction? Where should we go? Give us some ideas." And pulling in just other people to play is was just a lot of fun. And again, people saved our behinds because they were there and just sharing some jokes and I don't know, you put chicken legs on the screen for fun. I mean, it was just a good time. So I really hope that as we continue to stream and continue to find games that people are interested in participating in, that aspect grows some more.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a blast playing this unstreamed. There were some stark differences, but like the point you brought up were like having people contribute and having our board now has people's names on it that were contributing in chat. I think that's really cool. Like it is. It doesn't really feel like it's our board in the sense that it's Kim and my board, but is our board as in the community, right? We were all a part of this experience in some way, and that was a really fun aspect of it. Now, the negative to streaming this game live is that if we were playing it at a table without all the cameras and all this other
And
overhead,
all your fancy buttons
all
that you
fancy buttons,
program. Yeah.
yeah, I probably would have spent more time thinking about the strategy and reading to the cards and getting more into that nuance of the game. Like, okay, which of these city cards do we draw in the infection pile? Okay, so it's probably going to leave what probability left, right? Okay, it's going to be like if next three cards this city's going to hit because we haven't seen it yet, for example. And playing live, because of all the other overhead and we keep the game moving, we don't really have the time to stop playing to think about that. And plus, too, we're just kind of having fun interacting with people as well. So that aspect was removed from the streaming play. But honestly, with what we gained from experiencing it with the online community, was totally worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I know like when you're streaming, you're worried about the tech side of it, and your focus is like 90% on the stream, 10% on is the tech running. Shoot, did we just lose audio or something weird that could happen?
Right.
And yeah, like you're saying, when you stream and you're trying to stream a game, you really just want to keep pace and keep moving, because I don't know if you want to sit there for 3 hours and watch a game. So it's like just keep on going and have a lot of fun with it and bring the energy out.
Exactly.
As opposed to 5 minutes of analysis paralysis. You really don't want that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, but I had a lot of fun with the streams. We're gonna keep doing this stuff. We're looking at other campaign games. I will say that the other probably negative to it is I feel like when we started the campaign, there's a lot of excitement and energy around it. People want to see where this thing goes, and it went long.
It's a long
It's a
campaign.
long
We
campaign.
played what 15 times or
Something
something
like
like that.
that. Yeah.
And so it was, are you going to commit to 15 times? And that's where I was saying it kind of felt like a job at some point because it did run a long time. But at the same time, the people that did chime in, I think it was easy enough to still give opinions or give ideas and just jump in anytime.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think if I were to do the next campaign game, whatever it happens to be, that I might be tempted to do multiple games a week so that we get through it in a shorter overall time, but still, keep the energy up and going. Because I think we were doing every weekly, and there's a lot of time between those.
Yes, because I would always come in Monday night and be like, "All right, what happened last week?"
Right,
Because I don't
right.
remember, and so then we just figure it out. But I think that could work. But then you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of other people doing the
Right.
stream stuff on your channel and coordinating everything. And
And then you want to make sure that people who are want to contribute, that they can contribute on both days, not just one day of the week, right? Because maybe Mondays doesn't work for someone, Thursdays does. You don't
well,
want to.
but I think that, sorry to cut you off. I think that is regardless of campaign or
That's
not. I
true.
mean, you can't unfortunately schedule a live stream where everybody's gonna get there.
Yep. Cool. Well, that's what I had to talk about. I thought it was a really fun experience and streamed. I really liked the game. I had fun playing with Kim, of course. We had a blast. And that. Any other closing thoughts?
No, I just want to figure out what we're doing next.
If you want to help us out, figure out what we're going to do next, leave a comment below or join our Discord and chat with us there. We're mulling over a few ideas. So,
Like
what to
what?
do. Like what?
Like what? Tell me, Steve. What are you thinking about?
Well, it's not coming super soon, but I know the second campaign for Sword and Sorcery is going to be delivering in a few months.
Oh,
That would be a
should
blast to play.
we didn't finish the first one, did we?
No, we did not finish the first one. We could try to finish the first one, but it's pretty long. But we could talk about it.
Okay,
We
so
don't have
now
to do the first one, do the second though. They're not really tied that
I know, but
closely.
then you just said you want to find a shorter campaign. And
Yeah,
now you're
no.
saying
I
Sword
just
and
totally.
Sorcery is really long, so it's like, wait, which way are you going?
It's true. That's true.
Um, but that, yeah, we
Outcast we
should.
could do.
Which one is that?
Aeon's End Outcast.
Yes, I do love Aeon's End, which I really think is interesting because I didn't think I would because of the theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not a big fan of the gross monster bug things, but it's still, again, I think it's just because it's legacy and I'm building a character and there's a story to follow, and yeah, stuff happens. Now, I will say the legacy of Aeon's End, like the packets, aren't as fun as the pandemic
Yeah,
packets
yeah, that's true.
because the Aeon's End it's just cards, and yeah, the cards are doing something, but that you know
It's expected,
it is,
right?
yeah, it's an expected outcome,
Mm-hmm.
whereas pandemic is, oh, here's a whole new map of the world
Here's a
that,
box.
yeah,
What could be inside this
yeah,
box?
or
So,
here's some new game pieces, you can now build shelters or whatever, so it's
right,
there's a
right.
lot more intricacies on pandemic.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, if you have ideas, there's a few other games we're thinking about too. I gotta talk it over. But yeah, join us on the Discord. There should be a link in the description below, or just leave a comment. And thanks for listening.
What's coming up?
What's coming up? We have the campaign for Marvel Champions is the next stream that's happening Friday.
Okay.
There's a lot of other content happening on the channel, so just check our end screen if you're curious what's going on. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Bye, everyone.